All right, guys, we're going to get going here. Race 1. Mr. Mark, are you making it out for this one, or should I push you into the next one? Wheels on tight? All right, make that your final lap around. Straight is closed. Lineup will be Douglas, Mark, James, Scott, Dave, and Arnaldo. Once again, Douglas, Mark, James, Scott, Dave, and Arnaldo. Actually, Chris, we're going to put you on the milk crate right in front of the driver's stand. You can stand if you like. All right, Douglas on the tone. Mark, James, Scott, Dave, Arnaldo. Douglas first lap, 11:44. James, 11:58. Mark, 12:63. Scott, 12:69. Dave, 12:83. Arnaldo, 11:71. Top three on my screen right now, Douglas, James, and Arnaldo. All right, calling it out on Douglas, 27.508 with the fast lap, 11:29. James, 26.503. Scott, 25.504. Make that Arnaldo, 25.5 flat. Then left. Scott, Mark, 25.506, and Dave on the 23. It's Douglas, James, Arnaldo, Scott, Mark, and Dave. Douglas, the only one on the 27 right now. James on the 26, almost on that 27, 26.501. Arnaldo, 25.503. Scott's 503. Mark is 504. Dave now on the 24. Scott now moves into the number 3 spot. Douglas, James, Scott, Arnaldo, Mark, and Dave. After Scott's Marshall, that dropped him down to the bottom.
3 minutes
There
left.
we go down. 2 down, 3 left to go. Douglas 27.507 right now, holding fast lap 11.18 on that pass right there. Arnaldo moves in the number 2 spot, 25.501. James 503, Mark 505, and Dave 512. Scott now chasing it back up, 24.510. .220 left to go. Douglas still on the 27. Arnaldo, James, Mark, and Dave all on the, it's just Arnaldo, James, and Dave on the 25. Mark 24.5 flat, and Scott on the 22. Arnaldo almost on the 26. Let's see what happens as he hits the loop. Holds it 25.5 flat.
2
James
minutes
501, Dave 508. Then Mark on the 24, 501, and Scott on the 23. Down to 1:20 left. It's Douglas, James, Arnaldo, Mark, Dave, and Scott. Douglas 27.506 with 11.17 fast lap. James 26.509. Arnaldo 5.11. Then we got Mark on the 25.510. Dave on the 24.5 flat. And Scott on the 23.506. Watch going towards the ice, guys. Clear. 35 seconds left. Running order right now, Douglas, Arnaldo, James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. There's the tone.
Car 3
At the
is
ice,
done.
guys. James, you're done.
Car
Arnaldo,
6 is done. Car 1 is done.
Douglas,
Car 4 is
Scott.
done. Car
Here's
5
Dave,
is
and
done.
Mark's still alive. There
Car
it
2 is
is.
done.
Douglas taking it 27.509 with a fast lap 11.12. Arnaldo 25.5 flat. James 25.501. Mark 5.16. Dave 24.509. And Scott 24.510. I remember the days when it was more marshalling than racing. You guys made that look too easy. Race 2 out. Chris, Justin, Rui, Ben, and Brandon. You tell him. You tell him, Douglas. Ooh. Ding in the wall. Get it out of your system, Brandon. It's all good. It's your only one for tonight you're allowed. How about that? Will that help? He didn't scratch paint, did he? It's a pretty buggy. All right. We ready to get these things lined up? It's Chris, Justin, Rui, Ben, and Brandon. Chris, Justin, Rui, Ben, and Brandon. Marshall's ready. Driver's ready. Chris on the tone. Justin. Rui. Ben. Brandon. See, that's why you're there, Douglas. Hot lap went to Justin, 1250. It's our red buggy white wheels. All right, I got Justin at the top of the screen, 25, 5, 10,
4
holding
minutes
fast
left.
lap, 12:37. Rui on the 23, Ben on the 22, Brandon on the 21, and Chris on the 20. Red and white buggy getting Marshall there. He was the one that was the number one at the top. I might bump him down. Stays up there on a 24 lap pace. Rui still in my number 2 spot on the 23. Chris moves in the third on the 22. Brandon on the 21 and Ben on the 19.
Three minutes left.
Two down, 3 left to go. Red buggy, white wheels, your one. Justin on the top, 24.504, holding fast lap, 12.06. Rui on the 23.502. Chris right behind him, 5.10. Brandon on the 22.507 and Ben on the 25.07. Light green buggy,
2
yellow
minutes left.
wheels in the back. Actually is in third behind Chris right now. It's Justin, Chris, Rui, Brandon, and Ben with 2 minutes left to go. Justin still at the top, the only one on the 24 lap pace, 24.504, holding fast lap, 11.87, the only one to get in the 11s. Rui actually moves into the number 2 spot, 23.505. Capello also 505 with him. Brandon on the 25.06, Ben on the 25.08. Minute 30.
1 minute left.
60 seconds left to go. It's Justin, Rui, Chris, Brandon, and Ben. Ten seconds left. There's the tone.
Car 3 is
Rui,
done.
you are done.
Car 2 is done.
Justin, Chris, Ben, Brandon is still alive. One boogie's still alive, guys. Here he comes. Watch it, Arnaldo. Oh, you're good. There it is. Justin taking that one, 24.505 with the fast lap overall, 11.87. Rui came in 23.501. Chris, 23.508. Brandon, 21.507. Ben, 25.04. Let's bring back out race one. Douglas, Arnaldo, James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. You done? Yep. We'll get through round two here. Race 1 and 2 for round 2, and then there will be a break and a resort. Douglas goes home at that time. Someone else gets a chance to win. We actually lose the top two drivers right now. Douglas running this one, but we're losing Arnaldo, so number 2 spots opened up. All right, so just waiting on Mark, Chris to Marshall, Rui to Marshall, and we're good. Yeah, Dave. That's Dave. We got your drive shaft out here. I think that's yours. It's only the TLR stuff that seems to spit stuff out. Yeah, I know. The drivers are too good. They drive the parts right off the car. See that all the time. Wheels, drive shafts, front bulkheads, front shock towers. Only got to keep about 20 of those in stock. I love TLR. Cars work, though, if they make it to the race. Right, Dave? All right, so we got Douglas, James, Mark, and Scott. Arnaldo's out. Dave's got to put drive shaft back in. Or Dave, do you think you'll make it out? Is it quick? Okay. I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, if you guys want to run a couple laps, go for it. Oh, look. See, there's the difference right there. If it was a TLR guy out there, he'd be running his car. You guys have to save your cars. There's Durango and Associated wear out parts within a qualifier, right? Parts don't fall off, they just wear apart. See, Mark knows how to do it. That car will run all night like that. Now that he tightened his wheels. Make sure your wheels are tight, Dave. Use that extra thick TLR Loctite. Hey, Mark, whatever it takes to warm up your tires. It's all good. And Dave's back out. See that? TLR easy to work on, too. See how quickly you put that drive shaft back in? All right, once again, Douglas, James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. Marshall's ready. Driver's ready. Douglas on the tone. James. Mark. Dave. Scott. Come on, Douglas. We might not have that part that you break on the wall now. Come on. It's Durango. That's why Douglas always wins. Can't afford to break parts. He's just got to run clean. That did cost Douglas a little bit. Hot lap actually went to James. No, Dave originally. 12:20. Calling it out on the next lap. Looks like it's going to be James, though. Here we go. Blue and white. James, 26.510. Dave, 25.506. Douglas, 507. Holding fast lap, 11:31. Mark on the 23.501. And Scott, 23.511. 1 minute down, 4 minutes here left to go. Come on, Douglas. You can't end the night like that. You're in second behind James. James is 26.506. Douglas, 511. Puts down another fast lap, though. 11:21. That one there was 11:4. And that bumped him up to the top. .320 left to go. Douglas at the top, 26.507 with that 11:21 fast lap. James, 26.511. Dave now 25.504. Mark, 25.512. And Scott on the 23.503. Scott hasn't found his groove yet tonight.
3 minutes left.
Three minutes left to go. It's now James, Douglas, Dave, Mark, and Scott. James 26,508. Okay, there's Douglas, James. James still there. 26,507.3 to Douglas's 0.9. Dave sitting at number 3 spot, 26,505. Mark 507. And Scott on the 24,508. See if James can hold off Douglas here. They're both now 506. James 501. Oh, that's not going to help James. Thanks, Dave. Keep going, keep going. It's just a qualifier.
Two minutes left.
It's weird, James. You almost had the fastest lap, too. Yours 11:21.7. His is 11:21.2. 2 minutes left to go. Douglas 26,506. James 26,510. Mark moves in that number 3 spot, 25,504. Dave 24,502 with Scott right behind him, 503. Pull it together, man. Let's go, James. Don't worry, Douglas just keeps putting down faster laps. 11:20 flat. That's really not helping you. Orange, white, yellow wheels at the top. 26,504. Fast lap 11:20. Minute 10 left to go. James right behind him. 26,509 right now. Mark 25,504.
1 minute
Dave,
left.
24,5 flat. Scott 501. Douglas breaks down 26,503. $40 seconds left to go. James now holding fast lap 11:19 to Douglas's 11:20. Only 15 seconds left, Douglas. You gonna let him have fast lap? Nope, 11:10. There's the tone.
Car 1 is done.
You're still alive, James. Mark's done.
Car 4 is done.
Scott. Dave is still alive, guys. Dave
Car
is still
3
alive.
is done. Car
There
5
it
is
is.
done.
Douglas, 26,501 with the fast lap, 11:10. James, you were so close for a second there. 26,512. You had 11:19. You actually had the kid beat there for a second. Mark, 25,501. His fast lap, 11:56. Dave, 25,511 with 11:85. And Scott had 24,5 flat with 11:69. Justin, Rui, Chris, Brandon, and Ben. Right after this race, we will take a break. If anyone wants to see the paperwork, I have it here. All right, so what do we need? We need Mark out to Marshall. We need Chris to the driver's stand. Oh, don't worry, Chris. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Make sure the wheels are tight. Make sure drive shafts don't come out. Mark, you're going to be on the RPM. Yeah. It's only the 5 of yous. All right, guys, let's get them lined up. Justin, Rui, Chris, Brandon, and Ben. Justin, Rui, Chris, Brandon, Ben. Chris, don't let the kid pick on you like that. All right, Justin on the tone. Rui. Chris. Brandon. Ben. Race 2 up and running. Who's getting the hot lap in this one? Justin had it last time. Looks like he might have it this time too. He does. 12:35. Red with the white wheels. All right, calling it out on Justin. 25.502 with the fast lap. 11.97
4
right now.
minutes left.
Rui sitting in number 2 spot. 24.503. Ben 507. Brandon 21.507 and Chris 21. Sorry, no, Chris moves in the 4th. 21.511 and Brandon on the 20. So it's Justin, Rui, Ben, Chris, and Brandon. Justin on that 25. Rui and Ben on the 24. Chris and Brandon on the 21. 3:35 left to go. There's our leader flipping over, getting marshaled. See if he holds the top here. Oh, drops down to a 24.505. Rui right behind him, 506. Justin still holding fast lap, 11.95. Let's see where Rui is as he hits the loop.
3 minutes
Justin,
left.
504. Rui, 507. Both on the 24. Chris now on the number 3, 22.507. The Benz, 509. Brandon on the 21, 5 flat. 2:45 left in this. Justin and Rui both on the 24 lap pace. Justin 24.508, Rui 509. Fast lap going to Justin 11.85. Chris sitting that number 3 spot, 22.506 to Ben's 511. Brandon on the 21, 514. Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. Minute 20 left to go. Justin hit my loop 24.505. Rui 509.
1 minute left.
Chris 22.503. Ben 507. Brandon on the 21. Less than 60 seconds left to go. Justin's fast lap right now 11.85. Marshall costs Justin a little bit. Still stays in the top spot. 20 seconds left to go. There's the tone.
Car 1 is
Chris,
done.
you are done. Justin's done. Rui, Brandon, Ben is still alive. One car left live here, guys. And there it is. Justin taking it 24.505 with the fast lap overall 11.85. Rui came in 24.508. Chris 22.5 flat. Ben 508 and Brandon 21.505. Short break, guys. Resort. All right, guys, so when we get back in 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, race one will be Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. Race two, James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. All right, going with round 3, Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. There's only 4 marshals on this one. Gonna make you guys work. Mark, James, Scott, and Dave. Watch big table, guys. All right, all my drivers are over loop. Let's get you guys lined up. Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, Brandon. Rui needs a marshal there, Dave. Brandon almost needed a marshal. Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. So I got a couple pairs of mini pins here that'll be given away. One going in this race, one in the next race. Justin on the tone. Rui. Chris. Ben. Brandon. Justin's first lap, 12:64. Nope. Remember, guys, there's only 4 marshals. Looks like Justin had that hot lap. All right, guys coming around, getting lap 4 in. I'm going to wait for Chris to. Justin, 24.505 flat. Chris
4
is
minutes left.
505.5 in second. Brandon, 23.511. Rui, 22.512. And Ben on the 21. Fast lap right now going to Justin, 12.11. Just moved in the second spot behind Chris. .320 left on the clock. It is Justin now, 24.502, holding fast lap 11.94. Chris on the 23.5 flat. Brandon, 23.508. Sorry, make that Rui on the 22.5 flat. Ben on the 21.502. And Brandon on the 21.508.
3 minutes left.
Justin, Chris, Rui, Ben, and Brandon. Justin still on the top, 24.510, holding
2
fast
minutes
lap
left.
11.94. Chris on the 23.501. Rui on the 22.5 flat. Brandon on the 21.507. And Ben on the 508. Minute 20 left to go. Still Justin, Chris, Rui. Justin on that 24. Chris and Rui both on the 23. Brandon and Ben on the 21.
One minute left.
Justin hitting the loop here, 24.508. Chris, 23.503. Rui, 22.501. Brandon on the 21.507. And Ben on the 25.12. 30 seconds left to go. There's the tone. Chris, you're done.
Car 2 is done.
Justin.
Car 5 is
Brandon.
done. Car 3 is
Rui,
done.
Ben is still live. One more car. There it is. Justin taking again 24.506. Chris came in 23.5 flat. Rui 23.511. Brandon 21.502 to Ben's 5.10. Fast lap overall going to Justin 11.86. Winner was supposed to be 4th place in this round. Tires go to Brandon. Race 2, short break after this. Set up the mains. Nice, Dave. All right, we need Chris, Rui. Here's Brandon. That's good. Just waiting on our marshals, and we are good to go. Let's line them up, guys. James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. James on the tone. Mark. Dave. Scott. Nice bounce off the wall. Hot lap going to James with the bounce off the wall and all. 11.82. All right, calling it on James, 26.510, holding, no, not holding fast lap now. Mark, 25.501 behind James, holding fast lap, 11.76. Dave, 24.5 flat. Scott, 23.509. James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. James on that 26, Mark 25 flat. Let's see if he gets back up to 26 here. James now holding fast lap, 11.52. Mark holds it 25.5 flat. Dave 509. Scott 22.510. 3:35 left to go.
Three minutes left.
Three minutes left to go. James 26.506 put down a fast lap. Was 11.46. Hit the loop with 11.37. Mark also on the 26.510. Dave on that 24.502 and Scott 23.5 flat. Well, Douglas's TQ is 26.501. Can you get that, James? 2:25 left to go. Mark breaking her down too. James 5:05, Mark 5:09, Dave 24.508, Scott
2
also on the
minutes left.
24.510 right behind him. James puts down another fast lap 11:31. 2 minutes left here to go. James puts down 26.504 to Mark's 5:08. Scott 24.504. Dave 24.511. We get down to our final minute here.
1 minute left.
Thirty seconds left to go. James 26.506. Mark 5:08. Scott almost on that 25. He's 24.5 flat. Dave 24.510. All right, time has expired. When I call your name, your race is over. James. Oh, let's see what happens here. No, Mark, you're done. Dave, Scott is still alive. There it is. James taking it 26.507 with the fast lap 11:27. Mark came in 26.508. Scott 25.512. Dave 24.510. 10 minutes, guys. We are going to do the mains, and after the mains, I'll open up the track for open practice. So basically no change. Race 1, Scott, Rui, Chris, Ben, Brandon. That'll be a 5-minute main with one bump up to the A with James, Mark, Dave, and Scott. Oh, and the winner of that was whoever took third. Sorry, go look at my sheets. Scott, you got tires. All right, guys, let's get going with the mains. Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. Everyone else to Marshall. You can't take 5, though. There's only 4 of you. You're all going to work a little bit more. Big table 4 in front of the driver stand in this corner. That's the busiest spot of them all. Watch, don't hit Scott. Okay, guys, let's get them lined up. Justin, Rui, Chris, Ben, and Brandon. Chris is in the 3, then Ben, then Brandon. Let's follow leader start over the loop. Marshall's ready. Driver's ready. Everyone on the tone. Justin over the loop first. Chris in the number 2. Rui in the 3. Brandon, then Ben. Looks like Ben's getting back his spot here. Battle between 1 and 2. We get Justin and Chris out front. Rui sitting in 3rd. Almost 3 seconds off their pace. Clean passing, guys. For the guys that are being chased by someone, remember, if you come off that corner 1 foot, they stick their nose in there. You pretty much lost your spot. Just give it up. Red buggy, white wheels is my 1. Yellow and blue is
4
my
minutes
2.
left.
And my green is my 3. Justin, Chris. Let's see, Chris is now 1.3 seconds behind Justin. 3:45 left to go. Chris getting Marshall. This might help Rui out here. Get in there. He was almost 6 seconds behind. Looks like he's closed that gap up here. 2.2 seconds behind Holden, third. We got Ben in the number 4, Brandon in the 5. Rui, watch the bottom of the big table. Thank you, Rui. That's your number 1. Chris, almost 5 seconds behind the leader now. Rui in that number 3 spot, 8 seconds behind Chris. Ben needs a Marshall. Oh, no, he's good.
3 minutes left.
Ben holding the number 4 spot. Brandon in the 5, 2.5 seconds behind Ben. Watch big table, guys. Clear. Thank you, Ben. Red buggy, white wheels is your number 1. Yellow and blue is your 2. Leader needing a Marshall here. Rui sitting in the 3 in the green buggy behind our leader. Let's see. Justin need a Marshall there. That might help Chris out a little bit. Chris only 5 seconds behind now. 2:15 left on the clock. Chris holding fast lap also 12:05. Ben in that number 4
2
spot.
minutes
He's
left.
8.5 seconds behind Rui. Brandon in the number 5 spot, 6.5 seconds behind Ben. So everyone kind of spread out here now. Closest thing we have is between 1 and 2. Chris being 5 seconds behind Justin. Justin now holding fast lap 11:90. With 1:30 left to go.
One minute left.
That was a 12-2. One minute left here to go. Let's see how far back Chris is. Chris 6 seconds off the pace of the leader. That is the yellow and blue, guys. That is your number 2 out there. Rui in the 3. Lap down from the 2. Ben in that number 4 spot. Brandon in the 5. 20 seconds here left on the clock. And there's the tone.
Car 4 is
Ben,
done.
you are done. Here's
Car
Brandon,
5 is
Chris,
done. Car 1 is done.
Rui,
Car 3 is
and
done.
our winner, Justin, getting the bump.
Car 2 is done.
Justin took first with the fastest lap overall, 11:90. Chris came in second, his fast lap, 12:02. Rui's 12:28. Ben, 12:78. And Brandon, 12:73. Drop your buggies out to the track to Marshall. James, Mark, Dave, Scott, and Justin getting the bump up to the A. All right, guys, straight is closed. Let's get them lined up. James, Mark, Dave, Scott, and Justin. Yeah, we're good with that. It's a follow leader start anyways. Marshall's ready. Everyone on the tone. Oh, awesome start right up to that point. James's fault. He pays for it by going down to the back of the pack. Dave out front. Justin, our bump, pulling in the number 2 spot. Mark weaving through there too, holding up in the number 3. We go at the big table. Dave, Justin, Mark, James. Clean passes, guys, clean passes. Mark takes over that number 2 spot. Remember, guys, if you leave the door open a little bit, they're going to drive in there. Stay wide. Do not try and close that gap back up. That's what you're going to get called on the buggy race. So Dave in the 1,
5
Mark in the
minutes
2,
left.
and James in the 3. Justin now in the 4, Scott in the 5. 1 minute down, 5 minutes here left to go. James moving back up in the second here, almost back up to the top. It's only 1 second off Dave's pace. Dave with the fumble. Crosses it, takes them both out. And we have fumbles all around. Mark now out in the number 1 spot. And Scott in the 2. And down to our 4-minute mark here. Mark out front, Scott chasing him a second off
4
his
minutes
pace.
left.
Justin was in 3rd, just gave it up to James there. James now in 3rd, Justin in 4th, Dave in 5th. Fastest lap so far going to Scott, 11:57. Currently sitting in that number 2 spot. Mark hitting the loop here. Here's Scott. 2.5 seconds off his pace. James closing the gap up on Scott, only a second behind. James now holding fast lap, 11:57. Scott 2.5 seconds behind Mark. James only a 1.5 seconds behind Scott. He's got Justin chasing him hard here. Only a second behind. 1.5 seconds for Dave behind Justin.
Three minutes left.
There we go, halfway point, 3 minutes left to go. Leader hitting the loop, followed by 2 and 3. Scott did shave 0.5 second. He's only 2 seconds behind. James sitting 1.2 seconds behind Scott, holding that number 3 spot. James just put down another fast lap as he closes the gap in on Scott with 11:19. Scott closing up the gap behind Mark here too. 1, 2, and 3 getting tight. Second apart between 1 and 2, 0.5 second between 2 and 3. Justin sitting in that number 4 spot, 4.5 seconds behind James. James fumble.
2 minutes left.
There we go, 2 minutes left to go. Mark over the loop. Scott 0.7 seconds behind Mark. James 1.5 seconds behind, hammering down, trying to catch up. Dave just passed Justin to take that number 4 spot. Minute 25 left. Scott 0.8 behind Mark right now. Justin moved back into the number 4 spot.
One minute left.
Scott flips over. James takes over the number 2 spot. 1 minute here left in this. James 1.8 seconds behind on that last lap. Let's see if he shaves it down just a little bit to catch up. 1.4. Mark putting his wheels on the pipe. Scott with another fumble. Oh, no, it was Dave with the fumble. Sorry. James now with the fumble. Looks like Mark's going to run away with this one. 30 seconds left to go. James with a good one there. 20 seconds. Mark way out front now. Scott now closing the gap up on James. See if he can catch him before the end. James 6.5 seconds behind Mark. Scott only a second and a half behind James. Only 5 seconds left to go. So if they're both going to hit the loop here. Final lap. There it is. Scott, you're done.
Car
Mark,
2 is
you're done. Dave, looks like Scott's going to take that number 2. James tried to cheat. Didn't work. There it is. Mark taking the win on that one. Nice driving, guys. Scott came in second. So Mark had 30 laps, 6:02. His fast lap, 11:55. Scott had 36:10 with 11:40. James, 36:11 with an 11:14. Justin came in 29:602, 11:62. And Dave, 28:605 with 11:76. Yes, it is.
$12.8. $11.3. $11.4. $11.4. $11.8. $11.5. $11.4. $11.8. $11.4. 12-5, 12-7, 12-3, 11-9,
31.4,
13-1, 13-0, 13-7,